Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I want to come with you guys tonight as well as talk with you about something that is very serious. A lot of headlines are going out about what's happening with trad wives and their political choices that they've made and who's perpetrating a fraud and all the things trad wife or ex trad wives, which has been my focus for the last few weeks. And of course, with me, I am going to introduce our resident host alongside me. But before we do that, let's give you guys some time to get in here and get the stream going. All right, stay tuned. Beautiful people, this is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you guys are here, you are in the house. For anyone that is just coming on, say hello, how you guys are doing. And of course, without further ado, we're going to welcome our resident friend of the channel, Miss Victoria Langford.
Hey
Yay!
girl, hey, hey,
How
hey,
you doing?
hey. Happy
All right.
pre-Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve, girl. About to eat tomorrow. Okay? Dinner has already been
Absolutely.
prepared. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing wonderful, darling. Wonderful. Um,
Fantastic.
Dinner has not been prepared yet for me, but before we get into all those pleasantries and things of that nature and get down to the brass tacks, for those of you that this is the first time you're on this live stream or the first time you're maybe watching this video at a later date, let Victoria introduce herself and what it is that she can help you get together.
Hey y'all, hey, it's me, Victoria Langford, your credit solutionist, and I'm the lead debt elimination strategist over at mycreditcall.com. I am literally your one stop shop for all things credit and debt elimination. So, we are going into the holidays right now, and honestly, y'all, I've been talking to all types of different people from all different walks of life. And if you find yourself struggling financially and you really just don't know where to turn at this point, honestly, working with me from like 30 to 90 days, I'll get you straight. Okay. So I help people who are struggling financially really find their footing and get to those financial goals that they are trying to achieve, basically in the short term and the long term. So you can hit me up for credit repair over at mycreditcall.com. You can also download my new ebook, the 90-day rapid repair mini ebook. I think I might have tagged it on my channel in the video description. So that's basically what I do. I help you get your money right. All right, back to you, Miss Shelley.
Right. Hey there, folks. Listen, we are going to be talking about some, during this holiday time, this holiday season, there are a lot of people that are dealing with a lot more things than we'd like to, to really like address. But it's something that's pretty serious, especially among this very delicate population. Um, Trad wives or people coming out of that lifestyle have been getting a lot of attention, especially in the last year or two, in regards to what it means to be a trad wife, what is a trad wife, how how it translates in society, how it translates in the workforce, how it translates, and what part do they play in our society currently and in the future, and parts they've played in the past. Now, before we get into the discussion, I at least want to establish what a traditional wife is. Traditional wife, in the sense of A woman that stays home, takes care of the children, the household duties, takes care of the household. She's the manager of the household in a sense. If the traditional wife or the traditional caretaking is she's fully responsible for if given that full autonomy. Also, in charge of keeping the finances of the home together, keep making sure everybody is where they need to be, whether there are children involved or not, and making sure the male, or in the traditional heteronormative sense, the man of the house is the breadwinner of the family,
Mhm.
and making sure that everything is in point set for him, making sure that his life is more comfortable, things of that nature. That's usually the image or the connotation that goes with that specific title, trad wife, so to speak. Victoria, what is it that you understand from this particular role? What do you think a traditional wife means? Because I want to make sure we have a concrete understanding of that subject before we dive into some of their vulnerabilities.
Got you. So when I hear the term trad wife, I definitely think traditional wife in the sense
Mhm.
of someone that stays at home, is essentially a homemaker, is
Mhm.
focused more on the nurturing of the household, the order of the household, keeping things clean, in order, food on the table, children reared, all that good stuff, right? And
Mhm.
essentially, in my opinion, controlling some of the funds and really being the bookkeeper, the maid, the babysitter. And listen, she's like a every woman, but really she's a homemaker. And the only issue here is that if she's at home, the only concern is how is she contributing financially? Because we can contribute emotionally, affectionately all day long, but what value does that have outside of the four walls that we live in if we don't have the money to show for it? So I know a trad wife to be someone that pretty much contributes to the household by expounding their energy and their essence as a woman, if that makes any sense.
Right. No.
Yeah.
And of course, there are aspects of that role that people may differ depending on region, depending on country, depending on
Hmm.
cultural norms, things of that nature.
Yep.
But you get a better sense of what that means. Fortunately and unfortunately, the the life of a traditional wife or a traditional spouse heavily hinges on the person that has the financial leverage in the relationship. Um, if the male in a heteronormative sense is the one that is paying the bills or bringing home the bacon, or the one funneling money into the home to take care of all of the responsibilities of the home, included but not limited to the wife,
Hmm.
then that also yields a lot of power in a sense. And depending on who has that power or who does not,
Hmm.
and the quality of the person that has that power, can make or break the type of relationship that becomes. Because, in the very beautiful natured sense of the word, a traditional relationship is not a bad thing when you have two. I'm going to preface this.
Hmm.
When you have two mature, mentally mature, emotionally intelligent people partnering together to fulfill their roles, and they actually love each other, like they're in love with each other, a
Hmm.
traditional relationship can be a beautiful thing in and of itself if
Right.
both parties are decent people to each other and others, and there is no, not that there will never be any dysfunction, let's be clear, we're all humans, but for the most part, if the woman desires to be that traditional wife, and the male in the man in the situation is a decent, able-bodied human being that will treat their wife as, as the prize that the Bible does refer to it. If you believe in the Bible or not, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother conversation for another day.
Facts.
In the ideal sense, on the surface, there's nothing wrong with it. However, however, we have seen in the highlight reels, we have seen even on this air app on YouTube and Facebook and the TikToks and all the places where there are a lot of ex-trad wives, which is part of what my focus has been for the last, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks,
Hmm.
that are telling you about the tools they used to be married to, because some of those stories that I've heard cannot be describing adult men.
Whoa. Okay,
And
spicy.
go because
Okay,
what
Ghost Pepper Shelly.
listen,
Spicy.
I had some ghost pepper wings for lunch today, but um some of them behave like the tool that they can be described as sometimes based on what they do to people they claim they loved at one point.
Okay.
And some of the articles that we're going to discuss is going to delve into, unfortunately, some of the susceptibility that trad wives can put them that end up in situations where financially they don't have that control, or they don't have the wherewithal to be
Hmm.
able to make movements. And unfortunately, when they're dealing with humans that are not decent, or they're dealing with humans that have a power trip, they tend to unfortunately be susceptible to this type of abuse. So I wanted to establish that first, that I'm not against traditional relationships. Let's be clear, people are free to do have the type of relationships they want. But what I
Hmm.
want trad wives and soon to be ex trad wives to understand is that there are vulnerabilities in that. I've heard people say it time and time again, and I'm going to echo that sentiment. A man is not a plan, folks. You cannot put all of your economic eggs in one basket. None of us can. None of us can, which is why
Right.
even ladies and gentlemen out here that have a job, you should have another form of income that you're either working on or is working for you already. So, financial intuitiveness, financial wisdom is not something that's lost on just trad wives and ex trad wives. All of us need to have financial wisdom. As Miss Victoria Langford will tell you, she's a financial coach. She can give a lot of insight on that topic. So,
Hmm.
without further ado, what we're going to do is at least touch on the first of a couple of articles that I want to, to at least give you guys a better sense of what it is I want you guys to understand, how to deal if you are in this situation or you know somebody that is. This particular article was written by Choosing Therapy. This was written a couple of years ago by an author, Joyce Martyr. She looks like she's a medical health professional, and there was a medical reviewer that reviewed the article, Heidi Moawad. I'm probably saying that wrong. Forgive me now. I'm probably mispronouncing the name. But this article was published in November 29th, 2022. Interesting. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of this article, but it rings true. So,
Hmm.
what is financial abuse in a marriage or in a relationship? Financial abuse in marriage is when one partner exerts financial control over the other. It may involve fostering financial dependence by limiting the ability to work or have access to money. It also involves exploitation, like stealing the other person's credit cards or identity for purchases or loans. Financial abuse in marriage is a form of domestic violence that can have harmful and lasting consequences. Good Lord. What is considered financial abuse in a marriage? Financial abuse occurs when an abuser takes full control over another person's finances in order to prevent the person from leaving the abuser, or exerts power within a relationship. They may do so by maintaining full control over any funds, withholding it from the individual, or hiding information regarding financials from the individual. Financial abuse typically doesn't start at the beginning of a new relationship. It often begins when two people form a more shared uh, financial life, such as when a couple moves in together or gets married. Like most forms of abuse, it doesn't go from 0 to 10 right away, or it would be more easily recognized or readily be able to address. Financial bullying tends to be covert, starting with few smaller behaviors like commenting on the high grocery bill or asking how much your shoes cost. As the relationship progresses, it escalates into more serious behaviors like limiting your spending or giving you an allowance as if you were a child. Financial abuse in relationships does not only happen in marriage, relationships and money go hand in hand. It can occur when between non-marital couples who are dating or ex-spouses. Moreover, it's common during the process of separation when determining alimony and child support. After a couple divorces, financial abuse can occur when the ex refuses to pay alimony or child support. Now, let me come back on the screen here for a little bit. And Victoria, so far, everything does track based on what you know, or based on what we've explored so far.
It does. And I like my girl Cherie over at Black Women Making Money. Girl, I just realized I have an unpopular opinion. Oh my God.
Come on with it.
Girl, did not expect this to come up and they about to hate me. Like, look, the two people that's watching on my channel, look y'all. Okay.
Come
Let's
on
be
with it.
let's be candid because it's Thanksgiving, okay? I'm feeling good.
It's all right.
As someone that has been working for over 20 years now, 23 years, I'd say 23 years, almost 24 to be
Mhm.
exact, earning my own income, carrying my own weight. And y'all, I got a lot of weight to be carrying, okay? Look, and we took it all the way across the country.
Listen,
Um, what I heard in some of what you said was risky behavior in giving someone all of your financial, like, kind of
autonomy.
relinquishing, like relinquishing your autonomy on one end. But as someone that's been working for over 23 years, I feel like, holy hell, I would totally sign up for that if the deal was correct, because I'm tired. And I think this is a different perspective where if you are tired, you could be more susceptible to actually taking that deal without looking at the ramifications, like without considering it. You know what I mean?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, so I know that there's risks to it, but being someone that works for myself and works pretty hard and has carried my own weight all these years, even in a relationship where I lived with a significant other, it's like, holy hell, I would love to take a break.
I would listen to me, honey. All
Girl,
of us would. Every last one of us would love to take a break. However,
that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, "Ooh, girl, I want to take a break. That don't sound too bad." Ooh,
keyword. No, no. Notice when I first started this, I said when you are in a traditional relationship with when two decent human beings come together.
right.
The requirement here is that the human beings that you have this relationship with is a
Yeah,
decent, mentally mature, and emotionally intelligent one.
he's a nice guy. Nice
Yeah,
partner. We'll say partner because it could be guys or girls. It could be whatever, right?
exactly. You
Yeah.
have to have that kind of relationship with somebody that understands and will treat you like the queen that you are. You can't just have that with any old body.
Can I just say this in case my future husband is watching? I'm ready to sit down. I'm just saying, lately, we could say this, girl. It's Thanksgiving Eve. We could be for real. We could be for real. Credit Solution is gonna be for real.
It's
I'm
gonna
so
be what it
ready.
is, honey. It's gonna be what it is.
So, girl,
I
I'm ready to
understand.
sit down, but I ain't
Yes,
sitting down
ma'am.
without no paperwork. So let me make that clear.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I will talk about some alternatives later on. Let's go back to the article. All right. Oh Jesus, this
I
is
know.
gonna
I'm
be.
sorry, girl.
No, that's okay. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with keeping it 1,000.
Mm.
Now, 9 signs of financial abuse in marriage. We're not even going to touch on the. We just going to go straight into it. Number one, denial of access to money, withholding resources such as access to bank accounts, credit cards, financial statements, transportation, property, health care, or even food if an offensive and neglective it's an offensive and neglective way to isolate a victim in an abusive relationship.
Hmm.
This can happen between parents and children and other relationships that involve financial dependence, like a sick, elderly, or disabled person who is in the care of someone else. Financial abuse can also happen in workplace settings, business partnerships, and basically any relationships where people fully or partially share financial assets. Number two, intense monitoring of spending. When a partner is accessing your online bank records or reviewing receipts from the store purchases or online transactions with judgment and scrutiny, consider that intense monitoring of spending. These actions can feel like an invasion of privacy and cause a lack of trust and mutual respect in the relationship. When you feel like you're being micromanaged and controlled, it may trigger some defensiveness, understandably so. Feelings of needing to justify, rationalize, or explain spending behaviors. All of this may lead to feelings of resentment or hardened anger. This heightened level of financial accountability might be something you and your spouse agreed upon during times of financial stress when you are working together on managing each other's spending. It might also be necessary if you're recovering from a shopping addiction. However, ultimately each of us should be responsible for our financial lives and decisions. We need to operate in our financial relationships with honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Hmm. Any questions on that? Any additions to that, Victoria?
I thought the monitoring spending was kind of interesting because in the sense of a traditional trad, like a trad wife, I imagine if she's holding or if she's existing in the capacity of a trad wife, typically they do actually monitor the finances. So I thought it was kind of interesting that the intense monitoring would be on the spouse that is providing the assistance rather than the person that's actually sitting at not sitting at home, but you know what I mean. They've taken on that role because, like, if I think about the roles in my own family, my mother controls all the finances. Now, my stepdad brings the funds in, but my mother controls where it goes, how it is allocated, all that good stuff. So much so that when they go to the store, he's just there. I love my stepdad. Hey, stepdad. But he exists, right? And
Mhm.
he's even told me when we go out to stores, he's like, your mom has the card. I'm just here.
Yeah, because
I mean, it's amazing. I love it.
you're that key word. You're working within the confine that you see a functioning
Yeah.
traditional relationship that's working because both
Mhm.
parties understand their role, they like their role, and they're functioning quite well in their role, and it's not
Yes.
being used as a form of control.
Not at all. And I think what I was going to say to that, to speak to the trad wife, because I know you're helping the traditional wives
Mhm.
transition back
Right.
into the workforce, where my mother
Mhm.
was the opposite. She had to detransition from being an independent woman, taking care of all of her children, doing all this on her own, to then saying, "Oh my God, somebody's going to support me. How do I adjust to this? Because I'm not comfortable
Mhm.
with this." And
Mhm.
finally, he had to just tell her, like, "Yo, I'm gonna take care of you. Like, relax. And here's my checkbook." And I think in that respect, what I love about it is that now she gets that. independence. It's a different type of independence where
Mhm.
now she has so much to work with, she doesn't know what to do sometimes. She's just like, okay, well, I'm just going to go, maybe I'll go to the casino today, or maybe I'll go shopping, or maybe I'll just, go to lunch. That's their
Mhm.
thing. They go to lunch, they go to dinner, they do whatever they do. But
Now,
I think he's given her a new purpose where it's like, okay, now you get to nurture, like, and just relax. So I think that's been pretty cool to see, that there's that trust there.
mhm.
So she's the
Yeah.
intense monitor. It's not him. He's like, okay, my paycheck's here, my retirement's here, whatever, whatever. But I will say this, and I'll let you go on.
Mhm,
But my
mhm.
mother did it differently, and I'm a shout out my mama. I'm gonna call her tomorrow for Thanksgiving. But it's like she literally did not take the plunge into trad wifehood until they talked about this.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
had the conversation, and she says, "Sir, I will not marry you." And this is important for the handful of y'all that are watching.
Mhm.
My mother said, "I will not stop my life unless and this is in place. I will not
Exactly.
work. You will pay my mortgage. I'm not gonna do dot dot dot." And I was like, "Mama, you bold."
Well, listen,
But
I'm gonna
hey,
say this
it
to
it,
you.
it, it worked.
Closed
Okay.
mouths don't closed mouths
I-
don't get fed. If you want a particular you want a certain situation or you want a certain setup in a relationship, you better open your mouth and speak.
Listen, and she did, and I remember she told me that, and I at the time she told me that, I was in a situation where I was 50-50. I'm very candid about that. I was 50-50 because no man that I'm not married to is going to tell me what to do. Number 1. Okay? Number 2, if we 50-50 player, you my roommate. We just can I say what I want to say, Shell? Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. So what I'm saying is that, and we're gonna be thankful. I was very thankful for every year I had with this person. But my thing was this: after a while, I said, wait, if I'm paying half the bills, if I am doing probably 70% of the cooking here, and all this stuff, I'm like, what are we doing this for? Because no, I'm really being serious here, because people act like the money part is not a part of relationships, and yes it is, because someone has to allocate the funds and decide what to spend on, and blah 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 blah. But I just remember that, and because I was so immersed in the 50-50, when my mother said, okay, look, because she already had her money, like, let's not get it twisted. She took a payout from her job. She was already like, and she was gambling at that point, like, in the sense of, okay, if I do this with this person, certain things have to be in place. And I
Mhm.
remember thinking, oh my God, like, mom, you should do it. But also, I'm scared as hell because I'm living 50-50, and girl, I don't know what that life is like. But I say go ahead and do it. If this man is willing to do it for you,
Yeah.
go ahead and do it. Just make sure everything is set in stone, and
Yeah.
he basically can't turn back. And I know that sounds shady, but you have to get that stuff in place, ladies and gentlemen,
Have to.
regardless, right? If you're not the breadwinner, you got to set things up to where you will be okay.
Be mutual it's a mutual beneficial situation.
There you go, that you
You
summed it
know,
up exactly.
has to be. Hello, Still
Hey,
Rocks.
Still
Welcome
Rock.
to the live.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve. I hope you
Really
have a great time with your family.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody that comes in and out tonight. But
We got a
I'm
handful. They being silent, but girl, they here. I see them on my phone. They here.
I see.
Hey, y'all.
Listen, if this is because I was listening to, I forgot what video I was listening to, and this lady was pretty much saying that yes, she is in a traditional situation.
Hmm.
She controls the finances as well in the relationship, and there is in her prenuptial agreement where if they do separate, there's a certain amount of funds that she gets. She gets a certain share of his retirement. There's also things in place life insurance wise if something happens. So there, listen to me, there are terms and conditions even with traditional relationships. As long as it's mutually beneficial for both people, I don't have an issue with it. You guys can come to,
Facts.
y'all are both adults, come to an agreement. Now the financial abuse comes in because you're dealing with one person that has issues with control, and they're lacking some form of, they have some dysfunction going on where they feel the need to abuse another person they claim to love. So,
What do
and
you
it's
think about it? Like as far as the intense monitoring of spending by the person that is the breadwinner. Like, do you think that that's justified, or like, what are your thoughts on it?
in and of itself, I'd want to find out the root cause, what's driving it. I'm always a person like, I never just take things at face value. I always want to know, well, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you
Hmm.
not trusting the process here? Would you like to see? Because the relationships I've been in, I've been the one trying to make sure this gets paid and this don't get cut off and all the things.
Girl, and it's so tough. We'll have to have a conversation about it too, because I was thinking it's tougher, I think, for women that are like yourself and myself, where we're
Mhm.
clearly, I hate the word independent because I feel like people just run with that and make it this
Right.
weird thing that it's not. We're adults.
Functioning,
We're yeah,
responsible
we're
adults.
adult women. We make sure our bills get paid. There's nothing independent about that. It just means we are adults,
Functional,
right?
responsible adults.
Correct. And I feel like for us it's a little different when to transition into trad wifedom, because it's like, holy smokes, like we know how to take care of bills. So I think you or I would be a little more trustworthy for a man to relinquish his financial responsibilities like onto us. It would be different because we've shown and proven, hey, I can manage money, I can do this, I can do that. It's
Right.
when you deal with the woman that maybe is inexperienced in that, honestly, the man is taking a gamble at that point. Like it's a mutual gamble. So I can see it from
Mhm.
both
Yeah,
ends. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Still Rocks has something to add to the conversation. Yeah, I have close family members. Well, was so excited to get a man that they didn't have necessarily financial conversations. Why are we not having those conversations before marriage?
You want to know the real answer?
Why?
And I'm basing it off of my personal experience and the consultations that I've had, because I've had husbands and wives do consultations with me together.
Hmm.
It Okay, let me how do I say it? I was going to say what I would normally say if it was me and you on the phone. Um
Come on.
it's I know I was
Let's at least do the PC version.
I was going to say, girl, it's a shit, we can't, oh shoot, we can't bleep it, but it kills the attraction for some people, and it kills the fantasy, meaning it makes the person a little less sexy when we're having the business conversation, as if marriage isn't partially a business anyway.
Not partially. It is a
Girl,
business.
like I was trying to be nice. Okay, marriage is a business, y'all.
And if you mess that up, divorce attorneys are cleaning up from that business.
Because I
Like
mean, think about
really
the
cleaning up.
yes, and
Listen, come
I don't
on.
know if I told you, but I'm in communication every day with somebody that is married to a divorce attorney, and she tells me the greatest stories, and I'm just like, wow. I mean, but what I was gonna say is that it does kind of douse the flames of the fairy tale for a lot of people, and
Honey,
they're afraid of that for some reason.
darling, let me tell you. Let me get a little close in here. Hold on.
Come on, close girl. Let's get on up in here. Hey, y'all.
Marriage is not a fairy tale.
Mm,
Real marriage takes work. I need you to be in reality before you
Lord,
even take the plunge.
girl.
Speaking from experience, please, God help us. Please have the financial conversation, several of them. before you tie the knot, because in having the financial conversation, you might discover this joker is not for you.
Oh my God, yes. Based on their reaction to the conversation.
Based on the reaction to the conversation and based on what their financial picture looks like, because credit scores and credit reports should be reviewed before you tie the knot with this person. Because I'm certainly not doing that
Yeah.
again until I see that and we have that discussion. Let's be
Isn't
clear.
that crazy? Oh man. And it's so different when you're 20 versus a different age. You
You
know
know
what I
why?
mean?
Uh,
Oh man.
Let's be clear. When you're 20, your full frontal lobe and your critical thinking skills are fully developed. So you are living in fantasy land when you're 20. Can't afford to do
Listen.
that at my age. Child, please.
Yeah, and it's so tough when you're a young woman like that and a young man, I'm sure, but for us women, being having making your own money, there is that is something else. I mean, there's nothing like it. And you don't really think about having that conversation with the other person because as a young woman, you are still coming into your own. So you don't really focus so much on let's wait hold on, let's have a conversation, sir, let's have a conversation. You don't think about that because you're so immersed in being independent or making money and doing it's too much. It's too much going on at one time, coming of age, you know.
Let me go to Still Rock. Still Rock says, yeah,
Listen.
they be scared they're going to lose a man or woman if they
Yes.
start poking through their finances.
Yes.
Maybe that wasn't the person for you because you wasted 10 years with a person that didn't know what a checkbook was from the toilet paper in the bathroom.
Oh, girl, love makes us do some goofy
Definitely
stuff.
going to train my daughter early. Please do. Please do. Because if you don't, she could end up in financial abuse with an idiot that does not know how to treat women well and use money to control them. Ah, that's a dose of reality nobody's ready for. Yeah,
And
but
I have
you
a
don't.
question for you later. I'm going to ask you because I just realized something as you said financial abuse.
Yeah, I want to touch on some more signs because I want
Okay.
whoever is watching this at a later time not to be clueless or be to not be aware of all the signs.
Hmm.
I want this to be bigger so y'all can really see this. Okay. Intense monitoring of spending, right? Now this giving of allowance thing,
Hmm.
this triggered me a little bit. An allowance is typically a portion of money that parents give to their children. Notice why how allowance is used. Employers might also give it to employees to cover certain expenses. That's usually a corporate credit card. Excuse me. Allowances are generally a relatively small amount of money distributed by the person responsible for finances to the person who is financially dependent. Consequently, there are elements of power, control, and restricted access to resources. In a marriage, this can look like financial imbalance or financial inequality. Double standards may exist, absolutely. One partner might be allowed to spend lots of money on clothes, accessories, or leisure activities, while the other is restricted in these areas. Oh, this imbalance may extend beyond the finances into other areas of the relationship. It may spill over into divisions of labor, inequality in household, or childcare responsibilities. Who are we going to talk about that in a minute? Number 4, financial lies, secrecy, and deception. If there is one thing Mentor Shelley despises the most, are liars. A lack of financial transparency can erode trust in a marriage, especially when somebody exhibits shady financial behaviors. Maybe it's unexplained wads of cash in their wallet. Uh-oh. Or perhaps they are suddenly changing passwords on shared accounts and claiming they don't remember the new login information. Lies. Number 5, financial infidelity. This is when the lies and the secrecy reach a level of betrayal. Oh, I can personally tell y'all a story. We're going to talk about that another time.
Ooh.
Such as having secret debt or assets. Several times in my practice, a client discovered that their spouse has a second partner and family and real estate. Number 6, Bullying and aggressive behavior. This might include yelling, swearing, throwing objects, invading someone's personal space, and other generally threatened behaviors. These behaviors are used to coerce and scare the victim of financial abuse into submission so they stop asking questions. You ain't
Mm.
punking me. Next. Number
Mm.
7, emotionally withholding behaviors. If control to control financial decisions, choices, and behaviors, people can refuse hugs, kisses, schmegs, and other signs of personal affection and emotional connection. Unfortunately, financial abuse in marriage is very common, especially when it comes to domestic violence. In fact, financial abuse occurs 99% of domestic violence cases in the United States. Moreover, it shares many of the same components as other invisible types of abuse in relationships, including emotional abuse, sexual coercion, parental alienation. In this case, the focus is on the money and fostering financial dependence and financial control. Got two more, and then I'm coming back.
Okay.
Coexistence of drugs, alcohol, schmegs, and gambling addiction. Yeah, that sometimes goes hand in hand with financial abuse.
Yep.
Addictions can cause financial devastation to addicts and their families. One study interviewed family and friends of the people with substance abuse or disorder. About 82% noted that adverse financial consequences of addiction, such as becoming homeless and all kinds of things. As a result of the complication of addiction, addicts are susceptible to being financial abusers. Last but certainly not least, and that is this is not an inclusive list. There is a whole lot more to it, but these 9 signs are pervasive. Coexistence of narcissism. If that's not a word that gets overused on the internet, but in this case, it actually trends.
Mm.
Narcissism is a personality disorder consistent of pervasive patterns of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, a constant need for admiration, and lack of empathy. Because narcissists tend to view their partners as an extension of themselves rather than a whole and separate person, God forbid, they often feel entitled to make financial decisions and choices on behalf of both partners on their own. This this empowers their partner and makes them a victim of financial abuse in marriage. Now, let me get back on this here screen. Hmm. There's so much to unpack there,
You said a mouthful, girlfriend.
and a lot of the financial abuse goes hand in hand with emotional abuse, physical abuse. Um, in some cases, that's not even mentioned there. Spiritual abuse.
That's where it
Um,
starts. I'm glad you
mhm.
said that.
Yeah, because a lot of the people that abuse or abuse themselves, and they feel that's the only way they can control what's in their life, not realizing they're perpetuating the very abuse they experienced.
Mm.
So, before I get to you, Miss Victoria, let me see. So Rock says I had a couple do a mortgage app, and one spouse didn't know about the loans and credit cards the other one had.
Hmm. Very, very, very,
Ooh,
very common. Very common,
very
especially in
common.
my business too. Yeah.
hmm So, based on the 9 signs, right, which is what I wanted to focus on tonight in that particular article,
Okay.
do you think in any way, shape, or form you've experienced, or not personally, but do you know of people that have experienced some form of financial abuse based on the business you're in?
Oh God, yes. And I can explain it. I can share with everybody like a personal experience actually. And I didn't realize it until And it wasn't a financial abuse on my end, like the person was not financially abusive to me, but it was a way that it was someone that I dated, and I realized the more I hung out with this person that they were completely irresponsible. And this person knew what I did, they knew I had the YouTube and all that stuff, right? But we were polar opposites in that when this person got paid, I would literally watch them spend their paycheck to zero. And this is somebody that works in IT, has education that everybody's talking about. Oh, you need education, you need to be in IT, and you'll just all of a sudden, all of your pathology will be gone because you have a degree and you work in IT behind somebody's help desk. All of a sudden, that makes you a genius. No shade to my people, but sorry, it doesn't. So I was like, wait, this person makes good money and is educated, but I consistently see this person spend their paycheck to zero. And I realized at that point that it is a spiritual thing, and it's also it is a sign of deficiencies in other areas of their life. And without saying too much, this person definitely has substance abuse issues, which I didn't realize until later on. And it was like, okay, you're spending a lot of money on like alcohol and pot. Can I say that on your channel? Because I want to be candid. Because I think a lot of times with our relaxed society, we try not to recognize addiction when we see it. And it's like, oh, you're always spending money on these things and on video games and all this other stuff. So it's like, whoa, you have a problem. And if I tether myself to you, you now become my problem. Right. So I made it a point to never tell this person how much money I truly made. They didn't know, but I make more money than they ever did. But I'm not gonna say that. I'm sure he's lurking in the shadows. Hey, boo. And it's like, look, I don't know if I got eggs on my car in the morning. Okay. So what I'm saying is that it's like, okay, it's kind of sad, but I think, and also that's just my personal experience. So I noticed, okay, something's wrong there, and this is a bigger issue than I can even handle as the credit solutionist, you know. And then from what I see in my business, shockingly, I see both ends. I see where the husband and the wife will come on screen, and I'm like, whoa, okay, there's two of you in the consultation. Very cool. But then I will also see the man that is calling me and doing the consultation from the back house. He's doing it from the mother-in-law suite on their property, right? I've had both of those things happen. So, shockingly, money is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. But if you look at how someone spends their money, you can uncover other pathologies. It because money is just energy, right? It only has the value that we assign to it as a society.
Correct. Very
So
much
it
so.
literally, and that's why I just love that you touched on the spiritual aspect, because if you want to know where somebody is spiritually, I always say, look at their bank account and look at their debt. Like, you will learn so much about a person. They don't have to tell you anything. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Just look at how they spend their money.
Wow.
Okay, look, was that a word?
Yes, it was. Yes,
Ma'am,
it was.
look.
That was a deep one. That was a
Yes.
deep, deep, deep one.
And people don't think it, but I only know it because of how I've started to reflect on how I spend money and all that good stuff, and it's like, holy smokes, okay, when I know when I'm going out and I'm just buying or grabbing things and just buying them and not really thinking, deviating from my shopping list and all that, typically it's when I'm very stressed.
I, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Let me touch on some of the tactics further down in that same article. I wasn't
Okay.
going to leave it alone, but the tactics are probably going to be easier to recognize.
Okay. This is
Um,
from the abuser, you mean?
from the abuser.
Okay.
Tactics such as let's go financially shaming and putting down people. Belittling somebody for earning less or nothing at all because they are a stay at home parent, disabled, or chronically ill is a form of financial shaming. It's also not acceptable to criticize your partner by speaking poorly about their spending behaviors or debt in front of others. Another another trigger. Uh, let's see here. Another tactic. Dangling the carrot is when the abuser manipulates the victim by claiming the financial choices they want to make are to help them reach long term financial goals. However, in reality, they may simply be looking to benefit from the short term gains, such as having extra money to spend at the bar that weekend. Dangling the carrot is what they call that.
Yes, ma'am.
Manipulation is a form of emotional abuse. I did say emotional, financial, and physical tie together. We did just say that. Manipulation is a form of emotional abuse that aims to exploit, control, and otherwise influence others to one's advantage. Gaslighting, that's also a term associated with narcissism. Financial abusers often use gaslighting to get away with financial abuse because it is a means to make the other person feel crazy, guilty, or responsible for various situations. Common gaslighting phrases are, you're being paranoid, or you're overreacting. Oh, that never happened. Lies you tell. Now, another tactic, interfering with your job. Oh, geez. If
Whoa.
yeah, a financial abuser might interfere with your job by taking your car keys or doing something else to make you late for work. Abusers use social isolation to gain more power and control in relationships. Lord. The less money you earn, the more financially dependent you have on them. Oh, jeez. The more financial dependence you have on them. Stonewalling. This involves a total shutdown and refusal to talk about financial matters with the partner or a neutral mediator, such as a financial advisor, a financial planner, debt consolidation agency. Victoria, they're talking about you,
I
Fiona.
know, my ears perked up. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God.
Financial therapist or coach. Financial coach. All right, Victoria.
I would love
Academic
to speak to
abuse.
that. Oh God.
Academic abuse. Financial abusers may also be guilty of academic abuse because academics is a way out. If they can restrict their partner's education, they can limit their earning potential and increase their financial dependence. Boom. There, I said it. Oh my goodness. Oh geez. Short-term impacts, food insecurities. Here are the vulnerabilities, folks. Vulnerable to physical, sexual, emotional violence. Inability to leave the relationship due to lack of financial resources. This is one of the main reasons I zoned in on ex-trad wives, because a lot of them are in these situations. And I don't want to just talk about them being financial abuse. We are here to provide solutions. Inability, increase stress levels with emotional, cognitive, physical, professional, and financial ramifications. Feelings of panic and overwhelm that can lead to impulsive and reactive decisions, such as quickly jumping into a new relationship. Oh, Lord, don't do that. Increased risk of substance abuse as a means of self medication, mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. Let me just stop right there. Part of the reason a lot of ex trad wives are on TikTok or on YouTube here or on different platforms is the fact that um, they are now susceptible to a lot of this type of abuse. And they're now going through the back end of, and they're trying to warn Young ladies, please, if you are going to go into that relationship and it's going to be a traditional one, please get things. I don't say this enough. If it ain't written down and not signed and notarized by an attorney, it did not happen. If you want the type of security, you have to make the effort to build in that security in that relationship. Not that everybody wants to heed to their word, but they'll be legally liable if they don't. Please, ladies, any trad wife or ex trad wife listening to me, do not leave yourself open and vulnerable for someone that really does not deserve you in the first place. Let's be clear. Because if they did, they would not treat you this way. Am I correct or am I correct, Victoria?
I think you are spot on. And the tough conversation that we have to have is that many women feel insecure bringing this up because, as Still Rocks mentioned, they don't want to lose that man or woman. It doesn't matter. They don't want to lose that breadwinner, whatever, sex it is, male or female. So I think you're getting at something a little deeper than what we probably even were supposed to touch on tonight, but it's
Mhm.
spiritual and it's self-worth. And it it forces you to tap into and kind of touch those wounds that you never healed because they open wide up when you deal with these situations and you start to see your pathologies and your shortcomings,
Which
supposed
is
shortcomings. That's just a word. I couldn't find a different one to use, y'all. But that's what I realized even in dating the person I was talking about. It's like, I'm a credit solutionist. What the hell do I look like dating somebody that spends their paycheck to zero, that's educated and works in IT and could be whatever the hell he wants to be? What do I look like? So I had to look at myself too.
and nobody is perfect, folks. And sometimes some relationships are for a moment, some are for a while, and
Hmm.
some for a lifetime. And some of those relationships are there to teach you something about yourself.
That
Are
girl.
you are you ready, able, and willing to learn them and get the necessary help to work through them?
Listen.
Listen, we all about being fully functional, well-adjusted adults over here. So, far be it for me to say, well, if you noticed on that article, they referred to getting therapy. I am not opposed to therapy. I have, I get my sessions in on a regular basis.
Ma'am, high five. Look, let we get it together. High five.
Yes, there we go. Boom. Exactly. So,
Okay. Like, y'all,
thank
Shelly called me today right before I was gonna go into my
you very much. And I
my
had
pre-Thanksgiving session,
and I had mine on Sunday. So hey, listen, and
Listen.
we have to be well-adjusted adults out here. People got issues, but you have to be able to get the type of help you need to be able to work through those issues. No man's an island,
Yeah.
folks.
So
So,
I had a question for you about one of
yes.
the things you went over though.
Hmm.
And I ain't gonna go too deep into it because I talked about this like 4 years ago on my channel.
Hmm.
I ain't gonna do it until I feel the need. But okay, when you talked about financial infidelity, I
Mm.
think that a big one that a lot of women overlook, two things. Number one is when you get with a guy that doesn't tell you that he is on child support or that there is someone that could potentially put a case on him for child support. That is emotional abuse, number one, and that is financial abuse. And I think that it's sad that as women and men, we have to research the child support laws in our state just in case. Doesn't matter how you feel about the person. It's a just in case. It's like having car insurance. You need to check just in case this person says this 15 years down the line, right? I may or may not be speaking from personal experience, but it's like, whoa. So I was just going to say, what are your thoughts on that sort of thing? And how does one bring up that conversation? Because a man could tell you that he has no children, but girl, at our big age, how the hell do we know if that's true? Girl.
Well, let's be clear. If they'll lie about the people that they've created in this world, that's not a person I want to spend any more time with. You have no integrity. Bye
But
bye.
look, girl, look, what if
Ah,
we like the older men that may have fought in Vietnam? Or in our case, my case, all the guys I graduated with, they went to Iraq. What if they found a little Iraqi something over there?
more
And
power
it,
to
it
you, honey.
and it
Don't
could be
lie about it.
it could be a little baby
Listen,
that might.
let me answer your question. More power to you. You free to do as an adult what you want. Now, if you're in a relationship with me, I expect honesty because that's what I
Right.
give.
Yeah.
I expect integrity because that's what I give. If I'm not getting that, and if I discover, keyword, discover, because in my situation, financial infidelity showed up as something a little different.
Mhm.
Like people making financial decisions on credit and operating like they were still single, things of that nature.
Okay.
We won't get too much into that. That's all I'll say about that situation.
Girl, I be telling all my
Um,
business. I be like, look, be acting like I ain't got no kind of therapist, okay,
because
girl?
I hate to break it to you. Sometimes financial infidelity cuts deeper than actual infidelity because the financial infidelity can make or break what you're doing together financially and where you're trying to go in life and the decisions that you're making. So be very careful.
Whew.
I'm just being
Ah,
honest.
yeah.
Um, as far as what that situation taught me, it taught me that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't believe the what do they call those people? Um, those people that manage your image back in the day before there was social media, and they talked, oh, the stars, oh, okay, when you're talking to the press, say this, and this. What do they call those people again?
Like a PR person?
Yes. Before
Yeah.
you're speaking with your PR agent and and your PR agent is saying, no, these are not the things that I'm doing. And then you get to experience the real person behind the curtain,
You know what's so crazy though? It's like a lot of these people, men and women, they are able to permeate your mind and some of your um what would you call it? Like they exploit your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities rather.
which is why it's so important to filter properly.
And watch people. It's like if the guy doesn't pay his bills, people try to act like collections are nothing when I talk to them, girl. Because when I go to the store, they be like, oh, "Girl, I got collections. I could use your help." I'd be wanting to slap them. I'd be like, "Don't laugh. That ain't funny. Ain't nothing funny about no collections. What happened to you when you was 6 years old? Let's talk about it. Because why you think collections is funny, baby?
Because mama them used my credit to pay the phone bill, and I was only 6 years old. And we
Mm.
thought it was funny then. Anyway,
We're not even gonna talk about how many people I done sat down and said, you need to press charges against your parents. And they're like, no, just delete it, Victoria. And I'm like, no, I cannot delete this unless you file the charges,
correct.
unless you say it was identity theft and you identify the person because you have just told me that you know who it is. Now, luckily in
Mhm.
that respect, I'm not a mandated reporter, so I don't have to say it, because in that capacity, I'm not required to report it if the person doesn't want to pursue it. But
Mhm.
I recognize that people will use their relationship and what society says that relationship means. They
Mhm.
will hold that over your head and use it as leverage for you not to press charges and do what is morally correct. Because what how is it okay for that person to exploit you?
It's never okay.
Right, you're excusing it because it's your mom, dad, whatever,
I don't
but
care who you are.
they didn't excuse their behavior and say, "Whoa, that's my kid, let me not do that." They didn't say that, but you're saying, "Oh, it's my mom, so I won't press charges." You better get out of here.
Woo! Come on back,
I'm
Victoria.
back,
Come on
girl.
back.
Go ahead, girl. I'm
Listen.
sorry. I'm on your show. My
Yeah.
bad, y'all.
Yeah.
We multi-streaming, y'all. I'm on Shelly's show tonight, baby.
La- lack of direct income or financial independence. We did talk about the fact that that is a vulnerability
Mhm.
for trad wives or ex trad wives, and ways to combat that. Ladies, primarily, but there, depending on the situation, there are all kinds of relationships. So I'm speaking to everybody here. Open your own bank account. Seek employment. Learn financial literacy. That's the remedy to that. Uh-oh.
What happened?
Okay. Making sure that oh, something weird just happened. Anyway, um lack of direct and financial independence. Let me go. Number 2, um limited knowledge of household expenses. In a functional traditional relationship, it's usually the person that is home taking care of the household that manages the finances. In an abusive situation, it is usually the breadwinner that is using that as leverage. Okay? Limited knowledge of household finances. What can you do about that if you're in that situation or you're overcoming that situation? Request transparency. Okay. Document everything so you can ask questions and learn. And please, oh, please educate yourself. YouTube University is a great place to start. You're here already watching this video. Use that to your advantage. Yeah, because we don't just talk about problems over here. We do our ever their best to provide solutions. Bless God, amen. Is there
And
anything
how would
else?
someone do that? Can you give an example of what it looks like to maybe not rock the boat, but bring that up? The request transparency.
Um, hey, honey, I understand that for the past 6 months we've been having the lights get turned off. Every
Girl.
no, well, hey, we will, and we can't have. We're already stretched for, for money for food, and every time the light gets switched off for a couple of days, we have to throw away a lot of the groceries, and that's a waste of money. Is it okay if I try to help in this area so we can avoid that going forward?
That's a good point.
Yeah, could be as simple as that. Now, the idiotic malfunctioning control freak might say no and find a reason not to do it. That's a way to go in there if you're having those kind of issues.
Now, here's why I laughed, because you used a very extreme example. I think a
Mhm.
lot of trad wives sometimes get bamboozled because it's not that drastic. So, do you have a more um, pervasive example that you could give that to the average person is not a red flag? It's
Mhm.
not a red flag to request transparency. But what's something that could go over a trad wife's head where it's not she's walking in the dark because there's no lights, but like what could be something else?
Oh, honey, I know you're so busy with, working and earning, and of course, stroke his ego in the process. You work so hard to do these things. I want to definitely help you with this. Um, can you show me how to such and such? Because you're such a great teacher.
Ooh, I
You're
like
so
that.
yeah, you're so giving. You're so even if he's not, child, do what you need to do to get that information.
That's more no, I like that. That was more my style because 'cause I'd be like, "Babe, you're so good at this or that. Like, what do you think about ba 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 ba?" Okay,
Bless God, amen.
girl. I
Use
like
what you
that, Shelly. Oh, look, y'all seeing a little she gave you a little,
you didn't you didn't get
mm,
that soft voice for nothing. Use it.
mm.
Use it, hunty. Use
Girl,
it.
Shell, you just gave so much game right now. That
Use
was so
it.
good. That's gonna go over so many girls' heads. That was so good. That was so good.
That's what the old school mothers tell you. Make them think it's their
Listen,
idea. It's such
honey.
a great idea, honey.
In your
Mhm.
head, you had it all mapped out the whole time, okay? Learn your
And
man is what she's saying.
boop, that part. Yes, ma'am.
Love it.
Social isolation, because that also leads to other types of abuse. Um, because a lot of times abusers are afraid that they will not be able to keep mental control, so they use social isolation to try to break you away from people that will
Mhm.
actually talk some sense into you. That's
Mhm.
part of it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's social isolation. Do your ever dear best, ladies, if you are experiencing anything like this. I have to put commas for some of it because it does
Okay.
something, it gives an error message for some reason. So I'm here
Okay.
fixing that. Build, like our wonderful sis on Black Women Making Money, Cherie says, build a supportive multicultural networks, folks, whether it's on the personal side and on the business side. Build a supportive multicultural networks. If it needs to be online, um, and seek professional help. Because if you're experiencing any kind of abuse in a relationship, such as an intimate one, it's going to have a toll on you. It's going to take a toll on you mentally. And as you heard today, ain't nothing wrong with sitting down with a therapist, work out your stuff. So do not shy away from that if you're in a position to get that help, even if it's the 3 free sessions that your medical insurance provides. Find out if you have medical insurance. There's some medical insurances that'll give you the first 3 sessions for free through one of their programs. Go through your subject plan descriptions, and you might be able to find one or two. Or if it's reasonably, if you can run it through your insurance and just pay a copay like you would for any other doctor's visit, you can pay for a therapy visit. Folks, it's you have to use what you have, and get into networks, get with people that can truly help you. If they're going in the same if they're going the same direction, if they're productive, get yourself in rooms, get yourself in online rooms. You don't necessarily have to be physical. You got to start from somewhere.
I was gonna ask, because what if they don't, like, say the spouse has the car all day at work or something, and they can't necessarily Uber to a meeting or something because he controls everything.
You can attend meetings online with your phone. You got to
Wow.
start somewhere, because some of these you got to, Lord, some of the stories I hear, good Lord.
I like the
This
multicultural network thing. Could you expound on that a little bit? Because I think some people may not know how to tackle that specifically.
multicultural networks, you're going to start putting yourself in rooms and in situations and in places where the people don't look like you. Since I spell it out, yeah, but you also have to understand you may be in corporate environments, or you may end up in corporate environments where the people don't look like you. Gotta learn. Got a code switch. Yeah, that's we're gonna have a conversation about that sooner
Or
or later.
find housewife groups, right? If we're talking about
Mhm,
trad wives, they could
mhm,
find housewife groups, and
mhm,
typically the housewife groups don't look like you.
mhm. I mean, it depends on where and
Yeah.
and where the housewife groups are, or if you want to break into a specific industry, if you don't have experience or you had experience in the past, that you've worked in a specific industry, could be
Mhm.
industry um, groups.
Right.
in industry specific groups. There are a lot of options online and off. Meetup.com is one of them where you can do, they have online and offline groups. So use those. LinkedIn groups are online, Facebook groups are online. Those are just places you can start. If offline is not possible, or offline is a struggle, or offline is not an option you can exercise at the moment. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, in this particular situation, we did talk about it. Let's see here. This is also where mental help with a professional is going to be very helpful. Psychological manipulation also comes with a lot of this. How do we combat that? How do ex-trad wives combat that, or how do trad wives looking to escape combat that or help with that? Number one, you have to recognize that there's manipulation going on.
I was just gonna ask, how do we identify it? Because some people can't.
If sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's, well, I know this to be true, so why is he saying this?
Mm.
Look at documentation if you're able to.
Or if they
Documentation,
always go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, documentation beats conversation any day of the week and twice on Sundays. So if you know he's pretty much blowing smoke, you know where,
Hmm.
recognize the manipulation and understand that's what's happening. Once you recognize it, then seeking counseling and therapy will also be able to be helped, and practice independence in whatever small, minute way you have to start out.
Which is why you need a network, because you need people to bounce these ideas off of, and
Mhm.
where they can say, no, you're not going crazy. What you're seeing is really what is happening.
Because gaslighting ties into this too.
Totally, because if you're by yourself, and I was gonna say victim, but I have experienced that, where even moving to a new city by yourself, and I'm sure, Shell, you probably went through this too at some point in your life. It's like,
You,
in your travels, it's like, when you are by yourself, you're in a different place, different
mhm.
culture, because I'm sorry, like, what however they do things in Georgia is not how they do it in Virginia, and it's not how they do it in California, and it's not how they do it
Right.
in Jamaica and in Florida,
Mhm.
and da da da. And it's like, you can second guess yourself sometimes because the culture's different. So you're like, okay, well, maybe it's just that. Maybe, and you start gaslighting yourself. Okay. Listen,
Yeah,
so
maybe
y'all,
I'm crazy.
right, and you know I be going through it, girl, because I be like, look,
Yeah.
these Virginians love y'all, but like, whoa, I be thinking like, am I
It's
tripping
like, you're
or?
like, is it me or is it you? Which is it?
I
Hmm.
be like, y'all a state, y'all not still a Commonwealth, baby. Y'all operating a little funny here, but carry on. Sorry, show. I just
Oh
had to say
gosh.
that. But
And
that's the importance of groups, you guys. It's like,
yeah, it's
you know,
important. And this is not an exhaustive list. I wanted to touch on these five
yeah.
at least to get you started or get you on the way. Some of you, of course, are going to have a fear of starting over. That is understandable, especially when you're dealing with financial abuse, especially when you're dealing with something like that. Because starting over means I got to find a job to be able to support myself, to be able to keep a roof over my head. Because depending on how some of these relationships pan out, the other person might get the where y'all live, and you got to find somewhere else to go. So here are things that you can do in the meantime. Okay. There is an old school saying: if you fail to plan, then guess what? You plan to fail. Create an exit plan. Start getting them skills on the computer or on your phone. Udemy and YouTube and Coursera and Skillshare all have apps and courses that you can use to upskill and to reskill and get that certification. You may tell them, "Oh, I'm going grocery shopping and I'm going to go do this." And he may think you're just going grocery shopping when you went to go sit for a certification. Do what you got to do.
Like, girl. This is why they got to do their consultation with you, because you're giving so much good game. But if I were so new to this and green to it, and a trad wife trying to find a way, because I'm at my wit's end, I wouldn't know how to implement this stuff.
This is
You know what I
where
mean?
Yeah, this is where this is part of why my career strategy coaching is very important. This is why if you see it, let me come in a little closer. Maybe y'all can see it here. This is why I offer the first place for you guys to start is with the guide, the ex child wife economic guide. You can go to mentorshelley.com/ETW. This is a way to get started because what that will do, it will help you, number one, to let you know, number one, you're not starting from scratch. If you're in a child wife situation and you need to be able to get back in the job market to support yourself as a responsible adult, because the way some of these podcast mics need to be burned at the stake. Um,
We'll see a reckoning in 2025. Mark my
yeah,
words, we'll see a reckoning. I
yeah.
promise that. Yeah.
Um, in order for you to be a responsible adult, that guide will help you to identify the skills you already have, skills that you can actually place on a resume. I do have a resume guide you can also use, but if you want me to put that resume together for you or structure it in a way where employers are calling you, then I do have those services available at mentorshelley.com/resumes as well. Um, I'm here to empower women that are especially women that are in vulnerable situations like this. Sis, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to take the abuse. You're more than what your partner provides. You do not have to put up with it. You are a human being that is valuable. Please treat yourself as such and do not allow anybody else to treat you any way adversely from that. I don't just talk this game. I'm about this life. At the end of the day, you are valuable. You cannot allow another human being to diminish your value. The only person that can determine who you are, what you're going to be, and how you're going to show up is you. Not some dude that can't control his temper.
Or
Not some
woman.
dude or a woman, depending on who's in the relationship. Not somebody that does not know how to treat you and claim that they love you. So I wanted to offer solutions. And if you need an exit plan, then we can talk about that on a consultation as well.
Yeah.
Um, I know we kikied a little bit, but this is very serious, folks. There are some people literally dealing with some of this stuff right now. And I wanted to let you guys know I'm here. Here, not just talking crazy, but here to offer solutions.
Right.
Because this is not something, there are a lot of women that are losing their lives unnecessarily because of the people that they chose to unfortunately love that don't really love them back. Because some of those people don't even love themselves. Let's be clear. And I clown and I kiki, but this is real serious because people are really going through it out here. People are really going through it out here. Yeah, this isn't oh, I know it's Thanksgiving, but we got to be thankful we are above ground because some people are not because of this type of abuse and other abuse that is strung along with it. Because financial abuse is never just one sided. It usually starts off that way, then it leads into emotional abuse, then it leads into mental abuse, then it leads into physical abuse. And before you know it, somebody, you got to something upside their head and you're going to get into physical fights and people running people over with cars, all kind of nonsense. It can lead to all kind of destructive behaviors. But before I go any further, Victoria, did you have any final thoughts, or did you have any perspectives to add to the discussion before we close out? Because our folks are kind of quiet. We talking to everybody, but only Still Rocks wanted to participate in the conversation tonight. I don't know what's going on. Everybody busy preparing for the Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yeah, listen, they done already started drinking their cocktails and getting financially abused. Okay, now what I wanted to say,
So silly.
girl, I come slick, so you ain't got to. It's cool, you know. But
Mhm.
look, this is what I was gonna say. As you were talking, I wanted to share a shocking statistic with you that just came up on my screen. So, and I didn't know if you wanted to share your poll results too, but my question for the night for my audience was, would you break up with a financially abusive partner? This how I know people be playing in my face, and how I know people be sending they defectors, because 83% said yes and 17% said no, they would not leave a emotionally or financially abusive partner. I am not perplexed by that. It doesn't freak me out. It sounds very normal. I was actually waiting for more people to say no, they wouldn't leave, because there's a reason that a lot of marriages end in divorce because of money. But imagine all of the people that stay together even knowing that they're being financially abused. And we're not just talking about marriage, we're talking about boyfriend, girlfriend, we're talking about mother, daughter, we're talking about father, son, father, daughter, mother, son. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about cousin to cousin, right?
Mhm.
Um, uh, I mean, it's, again, it speaks to how you feel about yourself
Mhm.
internally, how you were programmed when you were a child, because we're humans, but we are little computers, right? And depending on the software developer or the person that programmed whatever
Mhm.
pathology into us, because I was thinking about this today, girl. My mind was going all over the place because I was off. I had time. I had time today, y'all. TCS had time today.
I
And I
think.
said, holy smokes, we are like little pieces of software. And whoever got their hands on us was able to program us and change the course of our lives based on what they put
Mhm.
into it was a software update, right? Because we're hardware, we're flesh and bone, right? We have our brain, our soul, and everything that God gave us. But
Mhm.
and it starts out very pure, right?
Usually does.
Yeah, but then a developer who could be your parents, it could be your teachers, it could be your friends, it could be your first love,
A
whatever. But
traumatic experience. Mhm.
exactly, think about it. It's like a piece of software goes through so many people's hands and gets changed and molded so many times that
Mhm.
by the time it is our big age, right? It is something completely different. Microsoft, whatever the hell, Windows, whatever the hell version we're on right now, is nothing like it was when it first came out, right?
Nope, because I was around then.
Exactly. So I really thought about that, and I said, the only difference between us and these computers that we're on and these softwares that we use is that we are flesh and blood. That's it. That's it. But we
Mhm.
are really, in a way, if we're not strong enough, we are subject to everything that people program into us. And finances are no different, you guys. It's finance, money is just energy. That's it. It's just, hey, Shelly, I feel that you giving me your energy and your skill set, I believe it costs blah, blah, blah. I believe it's worth that. And I feel like you're giving me a deal. I'll pay you for that. Right?
Right.
It's just
Right.
energy, y'all. So
Mhm.
money. whatever. It's just a way that people can take advantage of you or bring value to your life. So that's what TCS has for y'all tonight.
It can, yes. And this final comment, you see me, I see you, I guess. Says, nah, I'm single. Okay. Wonderful. Now, if you guys like the stream tonight, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And the results from my poll.
What was
Um,
your poll
my
specifically tonight?
poll, my poll says, "Do you know anyone that has ever experienced financial abuse?" 100% said
You see
yes.
that? You see that show?
So yeah, unfortunately, it's going on, but a lot of people, based on your poll, some people are sticking it out. I,
More than you will ever know, you know?
I'm gonna put it to you like this: I love the Lord and I love myself more than I ever would ever deal with or put up with any form of abuse on that level. For
It's
sure.
tough. I
Yeah.
think you and I should do a live stream later on about loneliness and how it can make us
Mhm.
maybe even stay in jobs that we don't need because maybe the coworkers are our only
Oh,
social
Lord.
communication. Listen,
Oh,
sister, I was thinking like, okay, I've been there, and
we'll definitely
how
talk about that.
yeah, I think that there's some layers to this thing, and I would like to
Oh,
touch
yeah.
on the loneliness topic in careers
Absolutely.
and in finance for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. You see me, I see you. That's an interesting, interesting name there. And of course, I do want to make sure that you guys are aware for all of the trad wives or ex trad wives that ever come across this live stream. Go ahead and download the guide. Let's get started with that at least at mentorshelley.com/ETW because I want you guys to have at least a starting point to get out of these situations, right? And if you want to work with me one on one or get that plan together, implement all of the things that we talked about, right? The five things that you experience in financial abuse is not a exclusive list by no stretch of the imagination, but I definitely work with you one on one to work on a plan of action. I don't just want to go through with you and say, okay, well, these are the things that you're going to do, and I let you go. No, I'm checking to make sure you do them. We're not just doing them just for fun. This is your life. We got to get those things together. All
Yeah.
right. Now, I want to make sure you guys have what you need. And of course, our wonderful co host here, Victoria Langford, is also here and she is providing to all of us here the option of getting financial coaching from her. You can hit her up at her link here in the chat. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen for us all at calendly.com/Langford Solutions. If you're looking for credit help, if you're looking for debt counseling, and for overall financial coaching, that is available as well through Victoria. Do you want to mention anything else before we close out, Victoria? I can put you on loan.
Yeah, I wanted to go ahead and just touch on, I understand we're in the holiday season, and yeah, girl is feeling giving. I got a cheerful giving spirit, right? What do they call it? A cheerful giver? Girl, Shelly, clap for me in the background, girl. But what I wanted to do was offer you guys some more affordable solutions going into quarter four of this year, and then giving you something to pivot you into the next phase of your financial life in the year 2025. So I went ahead and decided to give you guys a more affordable option. So I've kind of opened up some of the options I have over at the credit solution or mycreditcall.com, where I have a 15-minute and a 30-minute option as well. So If you think, maybe we have something that maybe doesn't require such an in-depth consultation, but something a little bit shorter, a little sweeter, you can go ahead and get that more concentrated, quick answer by using the 15-minute or the 30-minute consultation. Also, if you are maybe not needing to book that one-on-one with me, where you get the recording of the call like we're talking right now, you can go ahead and download the 90-day rapid repair mini ebook, which if you're on my channel, The Credit Solutionist, I do have the link right there where you can purchase that product and we send it right on over to you. So I look forward to working with all of you guys, and Tradwives or anyone that comes across this stream, let us know that you saw it. And if you're part of the replay gang, go ahead and comment and let us know. But y'all got some explaining to do with that poll. All right. 83% of y'all said you would leave a financially abusive person. I want to hear from the 17% of y'all that wouldn't. All right. Leave me a
Absolutely.
comment.
Absolutely. I'm listen. I'm on that. Y'all got some explaining to do. I don't understand that either.
Explaining, baby. Ricky Ricardo, you got some explaining to do, Lucy.
You got some explaining to do. Now, if you do have any high schoolers in your camp and they are looking for some career direction, they can definitely go ahead and purchase my book, From Clueless Teenager to Consummate Professional, 7 Steps to Getting the Career and Economic Life You Want. I address economics from the beginning, from the ones coming into the workforce and the ones that are re-entering the workforce as well. You guys, as you know, you have consultations with me for career coaching, for interview, and salary negotiation coaching as well. Of course, if you guys have questions, concerns, go ahead and either, of course, like the video. Please make sure you like the
Yes, give
video.
us a like. Yeah.
Yes. And I am on the road as well to 1,000 subscribers. Yes, yes. We're working feverishly to get that up there. And of course, your likes and your subscriptions and your comments will definitely help with that journey. And if you have just general questions, you can go to mentorshelley.com/contact. You can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours. Victoria, of course, it is always a pleasure.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what
Yes,
about your
yes.
Facebook group?
Ah, yes, my
Excuse me.
Facebook group.
Excuse me.
Wait a minute. You
Don't be holding
know,
out on them.
I give you the little secrets, the little secrets. Yes. That is facebook.com/. Your next career move. All righty. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat. You are correct. It is a private group. Please go ahead and jump on in the group. I do share exclusive content in there. And soon and very soon, have some really great surprises for you guys as well. As of Friday morning, I will be running a special on career consultations from Friday all the way to Cyber Monday. It will be a very deeply discounted consultation for anyone looking for that in-depth help. I'm not going to limit the time. I understand some of y'all are going through some things because this holiday has not been kind to some of y'all. So I'm going to be running a special starting on Friday morning all the way to the end of Cyber Monday, which is the Monday coming up, for my career coaching consultations. That link will be in the show notes once this particular live renders. I'm also going to be doing some other shows over the weekend, and I will be sharing that information with you guys as well. And of course, at the end of the day, I want you to become a better professional, but I also want you to become a better human that treats yourself well and make sure that others that are in your life treat you with the respect that you deserve. Victoria Langford, of course, as always, it is always a pleasure to have you on as my co-host. And of course, this is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally as Victoria and myself exit stage left. Y'all have a good night.
Credit Solutionist out.
Bye.